it's Monica. So I promised you a studio tour today. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're not going to actually be creating anything. I just wanted to kind of give you a tour of my studio slash craft room slash office because this is where I do all of my work. And I love it. We moved up here to Prescott probably about, gosh, 2 or 3 years ago. And we downsized. We went to a smaller house, but we were able to find a house in an older neighborhood that had an add-on, which was perfect for my craft room. So that's what we're in right now. And so when I share with you, you're going to see some of the walls have bricks because at one point it was either part of the outside or it was part of a fireplace. So the house is pretty cool. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So let me go ahead and pull the camera off. I want to make sure that I am good to go. And we will get going. So Pam, hi Pam, how's it going? I see that you said you're not going to stay very long. Hopefully you can catch it on the replay. If you're not able to, stick around for the whole tour. So let me go ahead and see if I can do this with minimal interruption. Gonna bake a gingerbread cookie, so that sounds a lot of fun. All right, so let's see if we can get this going. So let me just check a couple things before I give you a quick tour. I just want to make sure that everything is streaming okay. All right, so I'm going to start on the corner. And this is not only my craft room, but my office. I work from home. So the part that is against the back wall is where I do my actual work. And this is my setup for my crafting and all my digital images and whatnot. So that's what I'm showing you right now is the screen. And then I was fortunate enough that when we lived in Phoenix, I had an IKEA not too far from us. So I was able to get a wraparound desk, which was really nice. So my desk is pretty large, as you can see. It actually is pretty now. Where did I get the red? Do not bend. I actually got those. I should probably pay attention to my comments. I got those online, I want to say, but I do sell them in my shop. So if you're interested in any of those, I can hook you up through my shop. So this is my desk. So this is where I do a lot of my filming. As you can see, I have my light. I have my camera that I attach to. We're looking to get me a better setup, but this is what I use for now. I do have it decorated with my vintage stuff. So I've got some of my cans up there. I got my vintage bottles. I have a card frame that I created. Those were some of the cards that my mother-in-law created when she was alive. So I put them in a frame just to kind of keep them in my craft room and as a memory of her. And then I have some of my vintage stuff up here. Let me see if I can share with you. So I have these old cards. Slapjack, Old Maid, Dr. Quack, just some old cards. Some of the stuff I sell, some of the stuff I don't want to sell. I can roll the dice if I need to. But yeah, just keep it around for inspiration. Go down, pan down a little bit, and you can see my desk. So as a vintage crafter, vintage inspired crafter, I do get a lot of my digitals. So these were things I was playing with. Didn't actually make them into my shop, but I'll have them for next year. Some turkeys, vintage turkeys, and I just like old postcards. I need to clean them up, and I create digital images out of them. Scanning up. This is where I keep my score pal. I also have my cutter. I got my Misty here, and this is just really where I have at hand reach some of the stuff that I use to craft every day. And then this is what I use when I'm filming, so that way you can see the background of the white. I'm trying to avoid using my media mat because of the glare, so I'm going to try this out. All right, so as you move to the left, you can see, I think someone was asking me about my labels. So yeah, I use these on some of my crafts. I also sell them in my shop. When I make journals, I got my binding. I've got old tickets, old ephemera, my Edison record tubes, and then just some more old stuff up there. And then as you come down here, this is where I had all of my oxides and my stress inks, but I'm actually changing it to go into my tins over here, which I'll show you in a second. So if anybody is here, I see that there's 6 people joining me. Go ahead and let me know where you're visiting me from. And just want to make sure that my volume and you guys can hear me fine. So as I pan up, again, you can see more digital items. I've got these old tins here that I keep. Again, some of them I sell, some of them I don't sell. I've got little Denison books. Freedom from PA. Hi, nice to see you. I made these little books last Christmas, and I think I'm probably going to put them in some sort of a collage or something. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, so just little miniatures that I created. So I started out as a crafter. You're in Washington State, can hear you great. Thanks, Pam, I appreciate that. So yeah, I started out as a crafter, and I've been doing it for a long time. Nice typo. San Juan Capistrano, California. Oh, I grew up in San Diego. Very familiar with San Juan Capistrano. Went to college in Long Beach. So that is my apothecary display. I've got some vintage books, vintage tickets, and on this really cool shelf that my husband made me. All right, got some of my creations. I think I shared that with you before. That's my junk journal. Still working to clean this up. Whenever I don't know where to put something, I just kind of put it in a bin or a box. So I got all sorts of little storage items here. And then because Tim keeps coming up with new colors and I was running out of space there, I found these tins on sale. So I think I'm going to put my oxides in my tins and keep my inks there. Still trying to figure that out, but that's what I'm working with right now. And then my sewing machine is back tucked in the corner right now. All right, so I've got some of my vintage ephemera. I usually scan these and turn these into kits or whatnot, so I'm always collecting vintage photos. And then I've got my vintage typewriter that we got in California. Let's see if I can share this for you. It's actually a working typewriter. I love it. I do type some of my quotes on there, and it came with a really cool case. So that's my vintage typewriter. My sewing machine is in the back. And then this fun little thing I picked up. Hubby just walked in, so I gotta go. All right, Pam, we'll talk to you later. Found this at a garage sale. So I use it when I start to go live or when I'm on Instagram, just for my way of branding, I guess you can say. All right, so moving on to the left, we had to have a chair in here, so when my husband comes and visits with me, because I'm in this room a lot, that I use for my vintage train tickets. I've got that Red Star cough drop label. I've got some old spices. I've got some of that watch graph paper, stickers, and whatnot. And then as you pan up, more vintage items. I've got vintage cigar boxes, books, vintage spools of thread, and whatnot. Again, another really cool shelf we got at Hobby Lobby, so I really like that. All right, keep going to my left. Got some of my cards that people have sent me. I do have a card rack. So that's some of my finished card rack. And then let me pan out a little bit because this is another station. So this is my cutting, scoring station. And as you can see, I have my Big Shot. I have my Scan and Cut. You like my thanks. Yeah, I love vintage. And I like to surround myself with it. Inspired by Tim Holtz's room. If you've ever seen his room, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I like to surround myself with vintage items. It just inspires me to create. So this is a workbench that we got at, where did we get that at? I think we got it at one of the hardware stores, like probably, I can't think right now. But yeah, so it's just an outside workbench, and my husband brought it inside for me, and I use it for my cutting station. So I've got my Big Shot, I've got my scoreboard, I've got my big paper cutter, and then again, more boxes. Now I'm going to be selling this Scan and Cut because I'm getting a new one. It works perfectly, but I'm going to get a newer version. So I'm going to be doing that at the beginning of the year. And I'm going to be selling that to somebody that is interested in it. More dies. So I've got some of my dies here, some of the ones I use regularly. And then another box of just paper and whatnot. So this is one of the brick walls I was telling you about. This used to be a part of a fireplace, and it went to the outside, and it was an add-on. So that's one of my walls. And I decided, since I can't really put nails or shelves or anything on it, I'm going to put some of my old photos. So this is an old photo that I have hanging, and I'm going to do this whole wall with old photos. And then this is some more of my vintage stuff. I do sell vintage items on Instagram and in my shop. So just, again, more storage from all my vintage items. All right, so this is where the room gets a little wonky. So this part here is going back to my laundry room. When I was in Phoenix, I had a whole formal living room as my craft room. But this place is a little bit smaller, a little bit more wonky, so we've had to make do. So I don't have room for everything. I have piled boxes. Yeah, Tim's room is amazing. I love it too. But this room didn't even used to have a light fixture. My husband put the light fixture up for me because it was very dark. And this is one of the closets. So let me get in a better position so you can see it. So this is where I store all of my vintage product that I sell. Well, I shouldn't say all of it, some of it. So I've got old cookbooks up there. I've got old cigar boxes, tins full of stuff, old recipe tins. I've got old playing cards, old books, old patterns, old labels, you name it, I seem to have it. I've got old flashcards, I've got old golden books. So yeah, just a lot of my vintage ephemera. And then I've got some of my Biggs dies here stored on this shelf. And then I've got more vintage items. So when I'm lucky enough to find a lot of items in its original box, I'm always excited about that. So I've got old tags in its original box, and then I've got old coupon books in its original box. So that's always fun for me to find that. Scrolling down here, I've got some of my stencils, stamps, old storage books, old dominoes, and then it goes down to the floor. Got this really cool old suitcase. Let me show you. So I have stuff stored in that old suitcase. And again, I've got old buttons, old lace, and then just a variety of things. So we have this old photo also that I think is really cool that I want to frame. I haven't done it yet, but that is the plan, to frame that. And then let me score up. and I'm going to be backing into my laundry room. So this is more storage. Try not to show you my dirty laundry, but I'll show you my storage area. All right, so these shelves were in my living room in Phoenix. Now they're in my laundry room, but they still make great storage. I got old books, old maps. Again, more cigar boxes. All of my, well, not all, but some of my Tim Holtz stamps are in those stamp binders. Old books. Yeah, I wish I had more room, but you know, I mean, we wanted to downsize, so that was the result of our downsizing, was less space. All my stamps, all my vintage, some more vintage items. I've got old ledger books. This whole thing here is filled with vintage postcards. Let's see if I can maybe get it open for you. Maybe not, but yeah, this whole thing is filled with vintage postcards, so it's a pretty nice collection. I got old books down here, all of my craft paper. I should say some of it because it's not all of it. Journals I've made. This is really cool. This is an old Montgomery Ward book. And then just old game pieces. Yeah, just a lot of my collection. All right, so let me take you out of this room. And now I'm on the back wall. So this is another card rack that I have. And then this was a unit we found at a flea market. It's an old seed packet storage unit, and I use it to put my ephemera on it. Again, another brick wall. This was the outside of the house, so this room was an add-on. All right, so more vintage items. I've got all of my tags up there. I've got some of my ephemera still. I've got so much. It's a work in progress. And then I've got this really big filing cabinet, which is really nice, and I've just recently labeled it. So I've got vintage photos. I've got stacks and stacks of vintage photos. I've got vintage ephemera in here, just like all sorts of forms, old labels, all sorts of things, old train forms. And then I have another one here that has like my old invoices. So I've got old invoices that I'll eventually scan. Some great pieces of ephemera. I love some of the graphics. But yeah, if I see big lots for a reasonable price, I'll usually pick them up. Just put that right there. All right. And then I've got paper, and then that's just my business stuff down there. And then this is really cool. So this here is a long credenza. My husband found it online. Some guy was gutting his house, and it was crazy getting it down the stairs. But it's great because typically I use it for packing my packages from my shop. I have this really cool postal box with real combinations. So I have the combinations here right next to it. Old tickets, old tins. This is great because it has all sorts of storage for my old items. I've got more paper in there. But yeah, it gives me a lot of storage. And this is my light box where I do my photos. And then this piece is really cool. This is where I store all of my washi tape. And this is one of my favorite items. I actually found it in Phoenix, and the store that I found it in, Tim Holtz and Mario were shopping in the same store. And after the fact, I thought, oh man, I should have gotten him to sign this for me. Didn't think of it at the time, but I got a really nice picture of me and Tim, and Paula was there as well, and so was Mario, so I got to meet them all. It was kind of fun. So yeah, this credenza should be a little cleaner because I use it for packing my supplies, but right now it is storage. I found these really cool post office plaques, I guess, online. And I'm trying to go with a postal theme. Not there yet, but I like old post office images, items. But this is kind of my wall of projects. So here's some of the projects that I've created through the years. Got regular mail, got air mail, coffee, and then I have this really cool stamp. It's actually a stamp holder, so it holds my stamps. I've got some vintage stamps. I don't get rid of all of my vintage stamps. I've got this first class one, special delivery. Again, I just like to have it. And then it gets a little bit cold in here, so I have my heater. I've got this old, I think it's probably a paper cutter. And then I got a box of old postage stamps in there. I've got my printer. More stuff here. And then again, more storage and my credenza. All right, so just going back the other way around. It's a long room, which is nice. I really like that part of it. But then I also have more items down here. So this is underneath my desk. I have an old pattern book where I get a lot of my images from. Let's see if I can pull this out. So this is really cool. This is an old, I think it's 1970s, but I can, you know, go through here and pull out images to scan. Look at those pants, aren't they great? To make digital kits. So I picked this up at an antique shop, I don't know, a while ago. But yeah, they've got some great images. So eventually these will all make it into my kits. Just a lot of fun. And that's pretty much it. That's my studio. It's where I do all of my creativeness. And I spend a lot of time in this room. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed my tour. If you've liked my tour, I'd love a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and click on the bell so that way when I do upload another video, y'all will be notified. Right, everybody, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.